Hello there, and welcome to our Cozy Corner. On this channel we talk about all things game dev.
In this video, we'll talk about 10 more things that we wish we knew before we started working on games.
But first, let's get cozy. Number 1. Your tools can betray you. Trust me on this. Click that Ctrl Save when you work on a game as many times as possible. I usually click Ctrl Save to save the progress after every line of code. After every that I write, I save the progress because you can never trust technology when your laptop breaks or Unity breaks or Git doesn't work. Just use tools carefully, but don't trust them, and always save your progress, please.
Number 2. We are our own art directors. We have this amazing luxury and freedom to choose in what direction we will make the art go. And what's so cool about this is that besides that we can get inspired by other amazing people that created games and can give us a really cool base, we can actually choose what to do from zero. And we can adapt to the theme, we can adapt to ourselves in our current wishes and hopes and dreams. But the coolest thing is that it will become something authentic and unique. And I think we should so leverage this freedom.
Number 3. Multiplayer is 10 times more difficult. When you create a multiplayer game, you should take into consideration that you have latency and you have synchronization. Every little feature can be 10 times more difficult than a normal feature you would do for a single player game. So when you start out creating video games, it's more recommended to start small with a single player game, maybe co-op, local co-op, because of those games are also very popular. But multiplayer takes a whole new layer of difficulty. So start with that if you're a professional network programmer and this is your area of working, then you can actually create video games with this.
Number 4. Good art feels alive. Idle movement, slight changes in light, even parallax effects help the scene to become something that you actually want to look at and be curious about what's going on. Even just like a little wiggle at the logo or at buttons or smaller changes of size or just small grass movement or anything that is touched by some kind of wind is always something that brings interest to the scene.
Number 5. Test on more machines or platforms. First, you have the tendency to create your game and at the end to define the resolution and the UI and everything, and only when the game is finished decide, oh, maybe I publish on Mac, maybe I publish on Windows or a phone, anything. But it's rather more recommended to first think on the platform, because you also have to take into consideration if the platform can run your game. If you have a basic 2D games like most of our games, you don't have to worry about that. That's why I didn't worry when I started this journey. But with the time and adding more particles even to 2D games and post-processing, it affects your machine, because what works on your laptop might not work on a smaller GPU. But please test on more machines and more devices. Test on all the browsers if you launched a browser game. Then you can be sure that everybody will enjoy your game as you meant to have it.
Number 6. The player is your camera operator. You can manipulate what the player sees. If you have an open world game, it's a bit harder because you can turn and move everywhere. But if you have like a 2D game that you can only offer a very simple movement, left or right or up and down, you can enable the player to do and move the way you want by adjusting the scene, even just by lighting or placing specific objects somewhere that will create interest, will make the player go and move in the direction you will want him to. And so think about what the player sees and place much more interest and detail in that direction, and not the place that someone might not even wind up to be in.
Number 7. Optimizing is key. I know you have the tendency to spawn and instantiate objects in your game over and over again, or like you have particles or effects or objects that you just spawn in the scene and you leave them there. Believe me, memory leaks like this happen even without us knowing. They remain there and they occupy space, memory, and they affect the performance of your game. There are very simple methods to handle this. Just maybe a destroyer script that destroys your game object after 1 second when you spawned it. You can also have a garbage collector that just goes to your scene every few minutes and destroys objects that weren't interacted with for a longer while. There are solutions, and it takes more time from actually developing your features that you want, but it's worth it. But that's the fun part about being a game developer. You are a one-man army doing all these tasks by yourself, and it's very fun.
Number 8. Reusability. When we create textures, objects, or any type of asset for a game, we can always include this extra step of organizing ourselves and also thinking a bit into the future. Meaning, if you have created an asset that you think might not just fit to one single type of concept, you can place it into a folder where you can reuse it at some point. Like buttons, like a really cool font you figured out creating or you found online. Or even textures for 3D games. It's something that we can reuse at some point because we placed our work in it and we want it to be worth it. That doesn't mean that you should use all the same assets for every game you create, but it means to think a bit practical and use your already done work in things that can leverage them.
Number 8. Player psychology is part of programming. So you have your game, but now it's time to balance it out. You play it, you see, do I feel rewarded for my actions? Do I feel like I'm progressing enough? Do they get the dopamine rush when playing your game? Do they want to start your game again after it ends? Do you want to replay it to see maybe other interactions you didn't get to first place? These things add up to a replayable game, and the players will share it with their closest friends, and that's what you want in the end, to have a community that enjoys your game, talks about it, finds it controversial maybe, but they feel something. It's very important to look at the player psychology and make him feel rewarded throughout your gameplay. Or you can do the opposite. Frustrate the player as much as possible, give them rewards and make them dependent on your game that they need to become stronger and stronger to defeat the final boss. Hint: Elden Ring.
And number 10. Your game is not just visual. You can play with music, you can play with textures, and the point of all of this is to invoke an emotion. The player, as he just mentioned, needs to create a relationship with the game. And these things get enhanced by music, by visuals, by textures, and all these things that need to go hand in hand. And without working together well, you will just not create a cohesive experience. And what you want for the player is to actually remember the game. And that is made by emotion, by an attachment, by something that the player will want to get back to at some point. We're all so attached to these childhood games through nostalgia and all these things because it's just such a sweet emotion to think about them. That's what we want. We want to capture an emotion, even if it's just fear, like in horror games, or even if it's these cozy building games. It has something to it that gets you into a mood.
So, thank you for watching this video. If you want more videos like this one, just let us know, because believe me, there are more things we should do before starting.
For sure. And let us know in the comments if you also have had any of these issues before. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. But that's the fun part about the game. But that's the fun part about game. Begin a bug.
What players won't look. You want.